Alright, testing, 有冇聲? Okay, so now, this is going to be the last video, okay, actually last two videos on the chapter 20, okay. Now, in this video, I'm going to, this one is going to be brief because I'm only going to talk about the definitions and the cycle of credit creation, and I will leave the mathematics to the next video, which will be a long one, okay. Now, so let's not waste time. Now remember, in previous two videos, we have been talking about money supply. Now, when we do some lending, when we do some lending borrowing, we have more usable money. 係咪突然之間多咗啲用得嘅錢啊 ？Okay, now in fact, this so-called lending and borrowing in banks, therefore we call it credit or deposit creation, will actually create more money supply in the economy. Okay, now before we look at the definitions, now let's look at what's actually going on. Okay, now here, let's do it this way. Okay, now we separate our story into two parts. 嗱，我哋將佢分開兩 part 啦，好嘛？嗱 here we have the whole banking system. 我哋係成個體制講晒 ，OK？ Banking system. Here we separate bank A, bank B, bank C 唔同嘅係咪 ？Okay, now the story begins. Now step 0. Let's say, okay, Liu Chen, okay, he put 100 into bank A. 好嘛？嗱，我哋啦，首先啊 ，Leo 擺咗100蚊入去銀行啦。嗱 ，therefore what happens? Immediately, we will have bank A getting 100, right? 嗱。好啦，我擺錢落去，係咪應該叫 deposit 100？ 嗱 ，don't think too much. Right hand side deposit 擺右邊，唔好諗咁多，總之擺右邊。OK， now correspondingly, OK, remember left hand side immediately we will have reserve of 100， 係咪？我擺咗100蚊落去，頂。The so-called vault 係咪？可能佢金庫啊 ，OK， the reserve that will be 100現兜兜嘅錢 existing，OK，physical money existing. Now here what happens? The banking system immediately deposit 100, reserve also 100. 見唔見啊 ？Here we have it. Now what happens is that now next. Bank A will not be so cheap to just keep this money because this money, 記住啦 you put 100 here, tomorrow it still be 100. You earn nothing. Now therefore, to earn something, right? Then Bank A will lend out money. Now let's assume they lend 幾多號啊 ？95 好嘛 ？They lend 95，即係95蚊出去啦。Immediately, what happens would be that Bank A 咁啊，即係有人啦，係咪 ？Becomes like this。你唔好話上面係嘛 ？No, here immediately. Now deposit because I put 100, it's not going to change. I still have 100 inside, right? But then I lend out 95. I use real money to lend out. Therefore, reserve becomes $5. And loan would then be 95， 得唔得啊？係咪？因為我將100蚊借咗嘛，借剩5蚊，有95蚊借出去啦。And then remember what happened is that this loan I lend to someone. Let's call him who? Okay, let's see. Yes, Matthew， 好嘛？然後俾咗 Matthew 啦。Then let's say Matthew, then he puts the $95 into Bank B. 咁佢掟落 Bank B 啦。Then what happens? Bank B would look something like this. Deposit 95, reserve 95. Now here, let us update the banking system. 我哋喺度啦 ，update 咗佢啦，好嘛？嗱 ，how much deposit in total? This amount, 195. What about reserve? $5.95 100 loan 95嗱，見唔見啊？透過呢個借錢嘅過程 ，OK， through this borrowing lending process, we actually created deposit。我哋係咪 create 多咗 deposit 啊？ or credit loan, right? Reserve doesn't change. Now let's further this story. 好嘛，我哋繼續啦。Then remember, Bank B, if they want to make, okay, if they want to make profit, they will actually, Bank B will, let's say, loan out $90， 簡單啲啦，好嘛？ Therefore, reserve $5, loan $90. Now, this $90 would then again 嗱重複啦，好嘛？ Then someone 我唔知邊個啦，又 put deposit this 90 into Bank C. Then we'll have Bank C deposit 90, reserve 90, etc. Okay, 好嘛？嗱 again, let's update our banking system. You see here, 望啦 up to this step, what is the new deposit? 100, 95, and 90. This will be 285. What about reserve? 5, 90, still 100. Loan 95, 90. 咦，唔對數嘅點解？啊 no, sorry, 185. Okay, now do you see? Throughout this process, we have several things, right? We have several things, several observations. Now, observation A, we see that which is the most important. In the process, reserve remains unchanged. Now this is very important. OK， 嗱見唔見啊？我哋一路去其實成個 system 嘅 reserve 係冇變到嘅。This is very important. OK， now second observation, we see that we see that deposit and loan just keep going up. OK, until when 好啦，我哋一路都話啦，有得借出去啊嘛，係嘛 ？Until so called no more lending, right? Until the point when you cannot lend it out, and then this process will stop. 嗱見唔見啊 ？Deposit, loan keep going up, reserve remains unchanged. Okay, so this will be the process in simple. Okay, until no more lending or later, very soon, no more excess reserve. Okay, 好嘛？ Now this is the process. Now think about it. Remember, in this banking system, okay? Now, what is the physical money? Physically existing. 原來啦，實質現兜兜印咗出嚟嘅 physically existing is the reserve of 100, right? But what about the usable money? 有邊啲錢係使得㗎 ？OK, all money in deposit can be spent. OK, usable money is 285. OK, remember this is M0. This is money supply. OK, 得唔得啊？嗱 this is a process. Now, let's look at what's really going on here. Now, when we put it into theory, okay, not using figures, we call this the credit creation or deposit creation, okay, in a so-called fractional reserve banking system. Now, what is that? Okay, under this system, money would, under this system, okay, what does that mean? Fractional reserve system, it means that a percentage of deposit needs to be kept as reserve. 唔可以借晒錢出去， 部分嘅錢要成為 reserve，OK？ To safeguard the money, right? You cannot lend out. 嗱 ，for example, in our example here, right? You get 100. You cannot lend out all 100. You need to leave $5, for example. 係嘛 ？You need to leave $5. This is what we call a fractional reserve system. OK， 好啦。Then the process of creation always like this. OK， now let's see. Here we have deposit money into bank. OK, this is our step 1. Now, remember step 2. When can the bank loan out money, right? They can loan out only if they have reserve. And the more important thing is not reserve, because they cannot loan out all the reserve. They can only loan out the reserve that is more than the requirement. 係咪？頭先我哋話啦 part of the deposit has to be kept as reserve, right? So they can only loan out the part that is extra of the percentage. We call this excess reserve. Okay, excess reserve would exist. Now, when we have excess reserve, they can loan it out. Okay, loan it out. When it loan it out, they put it back in the bank, etc. Now, this process goes on and goes on until no more excess reserve. 原來成個過程就係咁樣去㗎啦。OK， 得唔得？ So this is the cycle of the so-called credit creation or deposit creation. OK， 得唔得？ Now, here let's see. You see this cycle goes on and on, right? But there are actually 3 steps to it. Now, each step, there can be something happening, okay? There can be something happening, okay? For example, here, in order to deposit into the bank, okay? Now here, let's call this number 1. This is number 2, and this is number 3. You see, we put money into the bank. We are assuming people will put all money into the bank. Now, what happens if people, they get the loan and then put it under their pillow? 喂，我借咗錢翻嚟，我擺喺我枕頭底唔得嘅，係可以㗎。OK， now therefore, in order for this cycle to gain maximum effect to go on, okay, first condition, we assume there is no so-called cash leakage, which means the public does not hold cash. 喂，佢唔可以揸住現金啊！啲錢要掟晒俾銀行。Okay, so this is the first part. No cash leakage, or public does not hold cash. Okay, 得唔得？嗱 what about next step? Now, once they deposit into the bank, they have excess reserve. They will lend out the excess reserve. Do they need to lend out? No, they can actually not loan out anything. Now, therefore, the second part, second assumption, for this cycle to go on for maximum effect, okay? Second, banks do not keep excess reserve. 嗱，小心啊，唔好漏啊。Be very careful. We are saying no excess reserve. They have to keep reserve. They just do not keep excess reserve. 佢哋要留㗎，不過唔係留太多啫嘛。Okay? And finally, here we say loan out. Well, what happens if there is no one asking for money, right? 喂，你想借出嚟啫，我冇人想收啊，係嘛？嗱 therefore, final assumption, we also assume there is sufficient demand for loan. 喂，要夠人借錢你先借到出去嘅，大佬係咪啊 ？Okay, sufficient demand for loan. Alright, so this will be the cycle of it. Okay, now here let's talk about some relationship. Okay, now this one, okay, these three, we will go into the details in the next video. Now, for now, let's just understand what they are. Required reserve ratio is the percentage of deposit to be kept as a reserve. Okay, now for example, if this is 5%, if I have $100 of deposit, I need at least, okay, $5 as reserve. I can have more than that, but I cannot have less than that. 我一定要至少有5蚊，得唔得？ Now this is the meaning of required reserve ratio. Now for these two, just copy. Okay. Now next video we'll talk about them more. Okay. The so-called maximum banking multiplier is 1 divided by required reserve ratio. Actual banking multiplier is deposit divided by reserve. 寫埋出嚟啦，費事啊。Again, we talk about that later, not now. Alright, now let's look at one example and be done with this video. 好嘛？嗱 here, in fact, in DSE, even without mathematics, they can have a question on that. Now here, the Prime Minister, okay, here, one policy was to step up the measure of a scale of purchase of government bond. Now, let's see. If Japanese central bank purchase government bond from commercial banks, okay, now remember, purchase meaning give money to whom? Now, central bank give money to commercial banks, to banks. 咦？佢真係俾咗現兜兜嘅錢 ，this is physically existing money given to banks. What does that mean? It means that the reserve of banks would go up. 係咪？即係佢金庫多咗錢咯。Okay, now therefore, explain whether the monetary base would be affected. Yes. Now, how would it be affected? Remember, monetary base in the previous video we talked about is cash held by public. 我現兜兜揸住錢，加埋銀行現兜兜嘅錢 reserve, right? Cash held by public plus reserve. Now, therefore, since reserve has gone up, okay, now therefore, monetary base would also go up because reserve has gone up. Okay, 得唔得？嗱，呢個位啦，唔難嘅。嗱 ，next one, describe the process of credit creation or contraction may result from purchase of government bond. Okay, now remember, we start with that. When central bank buys bond, okay, they inject money into banks. 好嘛？嗱 inject money into banks. Then next step, there would be 嗱好重要嘅字啊 excess reserve 係嘛 ？Next one, banks would loan out the excess reserve. 嗱，照舊啊，唔好漏呢個字啊。Will loan out excess reserve. Now, and then the public will redeposit the money into banks. Now, finally, you mentioned that. 等等先。The cycle continues until there is no more. 都係啦。Until there is no more excess reserve to loan out. Okay, this is how credit or deposit is created. OK， 嗱呢個背書嘅啫。 嗱，未答完嘅。Explain whether the process would further affect the monetary base. Okay, now remember, again, M0 equals to CP plus reserve. Remember from our example here, 而家頭先我哋講啦 this process, no matter how it changes, reserve will not be further changed. 係唔會再變嘅 reserve 喺呢個過程之中，得唔得啊？我哋頭先講咗啦。嗱 ，therefore here there will be no change in M0 because now this time very important because reserve remains unchanged. Now immediately you see how come you need the word excess reserve. 嗱，你要寫得好清楚嘅，因為點解啊？嗱 ，you say reserve unchanged, but excess reserve changes. Now what happens if you miss out excess here? Then you say reserve change, reserve unchanged. Then is it change or unchanged? You will get no marks for here because of contradiction. 得唔得？嗱，所以你好小心。Remember, right? Remember. Now conclusion for this video. When you are asked to describe the process of deposit creation or contraction, okay, very important, you need, excess reserve. We are not talking about reserve, but excess reserve, because reserve in the process actually remains unchanged, only have more excess reserve to be loaned out. OK， 如果咪有衝突㗎，好嘛？千祈唔好留一隻字啊 ！This is very important. This word. If you miss out, you're losing a whole lot of marks. OK, so that would be the process and definitions of credit creation or deposit creation. Now, for the next video, we are going to go into the mathematics part of credit creation. OK, so stay tuned for my next video. All right, see you.